Hi, this is Aaron Dubinsky coming to you today from the Chut Shel Chesed Yeshiva Beit Knesset in the holy city of Yerushalayim in the beautiful state of Israel, under the direction of our beloved rabbi and spiritual guide, Rabbi Shalom Arush. May Hashem bless him always. Last time I spoke about some pretty heady stuff, things that are happening in the world, how tough it's getting, what should be our response, what should be our reaction more than anything else. But what I didn't tell you is what to do. What do you do about it? You know, I'm so tired of people. I have to go on social media sometimes because it's how I contact some of my people. And they put these angry faces up and they call names to people. And that's good. It's a start. It says they resent what's happening. They're not happy about the state of affairs of things. But it doesn't solve anything. What do we do? What do we do as Jews? What do we do about all this perversion and craziness that's going on in the world? What do we do? Well, for one thing, we daven. And this we know, we daven. We also, we do hitbodedut. It's important to do all of the tools that we have that we know about. However, there comes a point when a physical response is required. As the children of Israel sat at the shores of the Yam Suf as coming out of Egypt, and they watched as the Egyptians closed in on them from one side, and the sea was on the other side, and they prayed, and they cried, and they wailed. And what did Hashem do? What did he say? He says, what are you crying to me for? And now most of our sages will tell you the response was one of, there's a time to pray, and there's a time to go, time to move, there's a time for action. There needs to be an action. Hashem requires this in everything he does. Go back to the very beginning, and he set the template right at the beginning of the universe. He created the world. Did he create it perfect? I think you can look around you and you can see he most certainly did not create it perfect by his standards or even by our standards. I mean, it's a beautiful world, don't get me wrong. Everything is as it should be, but there's work that needs to be done. Why did he not make it a perfect world? He could have. Could he not have done that? He could do anything. He could make it a perfect world. He could have made it a perfect world right from the very beginning. He could have done it anywhere along the way, but he did not. Why? Because it would have been bread of shame. It would have been us receiving something without any effort on our part. That was the template that HaKadosh Baruch Hu set since the beginning of time. When we were at the Red Sea, before the sea would open, Nachshon had to go in up to his nose, it says, before the sea split. That's not much when you think about it. I walk into the water up to my nose, and the whole sea goes, whoosh. Wow. He didn't do much, but he did something. And this is what is required of us, is something, an action, not just a sad phase, not just calling names. We need to do something. When you have a situation in the world where you have a fight between the forces of good and the forces of evil, and make no mistake, my friends, that's what we have right now. We have a fight between good and evil, between people who are okay with killing babies, with people who are okay with spending your hard-earned dollars to support people who shouldn't even be in your country to begin with. It's a time for action. We need to have an action. So what is the action going to be? Well, when you have bullies of any kind, and this goes back for a long time, go back, just a couple examples. The Russian Revolution. The Jews basically started the Bolsheviks, and when it got in trouble, the first people the Bolsheviks blamed was, you guessed it, the Jews. Yeah, the Jews basically started the National Socialist Party in Germany. And when things got sour, what happened? Oh, they went back, and guess who they blamed? They blamed the Jews. We are a universal scapegoat. We always have been, and likely we always will be. And we look at that and we say, why does Hashem pick on us? Again, wrong question. The question is, what should we be doing? Are we doing what we're supposed to be doing? Are we davening? Are we doing Hibodadut? Are we doing all the things we should be doing? Are we doing Bikur Cholim? Are we doing all the mitzvahs we are doing? Are we honoring our parents as we should? Are we doing what we're supposed to be doing? What are we supposed to be doing? We're supposed to be a light unto the nations. That's what we're supposed to be doing. Are we doing this? Because if not, we can have expectations of more of the same. Because Hashem comes to you, and a friend of mine told me this the other day, and I thought he put it exactly perfectly. He gives you a little on the cheek when he wants you to change or get your attention. Well, if that doesn't work, he gives you a little on the cheek to get your attention, to get you to listen to what it is he wants of you. If that doesn't work, well, let's say the slaps get harder and harder and harder until we get to the point where we cry out to Hashem and we tell him we need his help because only he can do the work that needs to be done. However, we need to do more. Now, let me tell you something, my friends. People who do what the Nazis did, what the Bolsheviks did, what this generation of you call them left wing or what you call them, but people who would like to fight against Hashem and against his ways, whatever you want to call them whatever you like, whatever makes you comfortable. What do they have in common? They're bullies. They're all bullies. This is how they get into power. They take a little and they see what happens, and then nothing too much happens. They take a little bit more. And they take a little bit more. They say, yeah, this is okay. Yeah, we got away with this. Yeah, we got away with that. Yeah, we got away with this. Well, let me tell you something. Your sad faces on social media and your name calling on social media is not enough. There is more required. We must stand up and fight back against the evil. We're supposed to be the good. So that is the evil. These are two opposite ends of the spectrum. And we need to take action. At the very least, we need to stand up and say, you cannot do this. You cannot do this on the world in which I and my people live. You can't do this, and we will stop you. How will we stop you? Well, let's start by doing something instead of just by putting mad faces and nasty words. Let's do something. Let's go to the paths that are given to us. Yes, prayer, absolutely important. Yes, Hitbodedut, absolutely important. Tikkun HaKlali, absolutely important. Tehillim, absolutely important. Learning Torah, learning Gemara, learning Zohar, absolutely imperative. And those are actions, but it takes more of a physical action. You have to stand up in the face of a bully and say, you cannot do this to me. You cannot do this to me. You cannot do this to my people. You cannot do this to the people on my planet. I will not allow it. We will not allow it. You have to come together and stand united against these people, or it will get worse. How could it get worse? Well, I don't know. Before they started giving the permission to kill babies when they were not only ready to be born, but even after they were born. Yeah, they said that. Yeah, the governor of Virginia, who is a infant specialist, sat there and said, and I saw it, so I know it's not just a bad report. He said, the baby will be born, and we'll try to make the baby as comfortable as possible while we have the discussion. The discussion? It's a discussion. What's to discuss? The discussion is going to be whether we're going to kill this baby or allow it to live. This is a discussion. You're discussing whether murder is okay, whether a doctor could condone it, whether a lawyer or a court can condone it. Well, let me ask you something. I can guarantee you, without having to ask the question, HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not condone it. And we must stand up and say, no, you cannot do this. You cannot do this. Why? Because those of us who are I hate to use the expression, moral majority, who follow the laws of Hashem, say so. we say so not in our name, but in his name, because he says, you cannot do this. You cannot do this. So we need to follow what he says. When we start doing that, our lives will get to a point where we understand that we're here for a purpose. And that purpose doesn't have to be mean. It doesn't have to be violent. It has to be firm and unwavering. And this is what we need to do, because without it, it's going to be getting worse and worse and worse. When we do this, the problems will start to diminish. The world will start to settle. And we all help to bring about the coming of Mashiach Tzidkenu and the third Beit HaMikdash, B'mheira v'yameinu. I know today was serious, but sometimes we have to be serious. But afterwards, we have to remember to smile. I see that smile on your face. Keep it there. It looks good on you. And smile some more. Be well, my friends. God bless you all. All the best.